Conversations, Cocktails, and Connections. I'm Amy Hester.
I am Emily Reeves.
I love seeing you in a new color.
Other than black? I mean, I left the black underneath. This is dark green, although it might be hard to tell on the
I like it
camera.
a lot. So
this is one of those things I've had forever, and I just...
I have been noticing a lot of this color in wall paint.
Oh, yeah.
On like cabinets and stuff.
And I think it like was a thing in the early 90s.
Oh, totally. Like that forest green.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it's more emeraldy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This is J. Crew. And like every time I bought it, and then every time I put it on, I didn't like it. And now I've put it on over a tank top.
Yeah.
And now I like it. Like it was hanging funny when I was doing it over a t-shirt and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I either cut off the sleeves of if there's t-shirts that I am only going to wear under blazers, I'll cut off the sleeves because I can't stand the bunch. Anyway, side note, what are we having?
Ooh, okay, so we are going to have a Gibson Martini tonight. Are you ready?
Yes.
So
I actually have never had this.
I never have either. So we're branching out. We're going to use gin, not vodka.
Okay.
And this is I didn't realize this. I was out shopping today, and I was at Eggshells, and they were like, "Is that the drink that the mom in Queen's Gambit drank?" And I was like, "I don't know." They're like, "We're going to look it up." And it is. That was her drink of choice. So I was like, okay, well, we're going to have a little Queen's Gambit night.
I love that show.
It was so good.
I wonder if they would be able to do a sequel to that. I mean, it kind of felt like it just kind of ended well.
Yeah, I don't think it needs a sequel.
I don't think it does either.
That's a lot of gin. Oh. That was going. Of course, martinis are strong.
Yeah.
They are strong. So.
I remember I lived in Dallas for a very short period, a brief time in my life. And I waited tables there at a restaurant that, I can't remember the name. I think it was called Remington Seafood. And it was one of those places where I had to wear a tie and a dress shirt and a long apron. And there were a lot of older men that ordered this cocktail. And I remember I'd go to the thing and I always got the onions and put them in there. I've never had it.
Okay, well, we're going to have it. We got the onions. I had to go to 4 different stores to find it, but I eventually found them at Heights Corner Market. So... I also realized today that I had to buy several wine-based products that are more used for cocktails. Mm-hmm. And I started reading them all, and they all need to be refrigerated after opening. So like all the vermouth that we have that's opened, it's supposed to be refrigerated. Then I started pulling out all the old bottles from that we have that we use all the time.
Really?
Yeah. So that could be part of a problem with some of our cocktails. Can you imagine?
A year later, nobody has told us? What the hell? They didn't know that it wasn't refrigerated.
So Lee told us, because his were wine-based. That's why I even started looking at them. When I realized, when I was buying this stuff today, and it was, all this wine-based stuff, I don't know if this is going to be cold enough, honestly. But it says to stir, not shake. And I don't know if it's going to be cold enough, but we're going to see.
Shake it off.
Anyway, so I started looking, and I was like, and because of what he said, and I was like, oh, well, now we know. So...
this is going to be a very...
It's going to be a very strong cocktail.
Cheers.
Yes. Ooh, let me go up. There we go.
Cheers.
Having to do it both at the same time.
That happened at the exact same time.
I mean...
it's good.
It is good. So I got this new gin. So we have a bunch of different gins now. We've collected a bunch of different gins. So this one is Islay Dry Gin. So do you remember when we were making that drink the other night, and I was like, it's Islay Scotch, and I had to look it up.
It's a location?
Like an area in Scotland. And so when I saw this, I was like, Islay, I think that we need to try that, even though that was for Scotch and this is for gin, but apparently it's a, Scottish gin. And so we have a bunch of different gins we should probably try to do like a comparison against, but.
That's good. Can we just talk about how cute we now have coasters?
I know, they're so cute.
Sticker Mule.
I know.
Again.
I love it. They have a really quality product, I think.
Really, really do. I love it. And I am now looking into getting some stickers for the salon.
Good.
From Sticker Mule.
I'd like to give you an update on my finger.
Yeah.
So in one previous episode, I sliced the tip off my finger. It was a pretty deep chunk of my finger, and it has been over a week now. It is still not healed. I still
bleeding.
Still can't type. It's still bleeding. I mean, it like scabbed over, and then like I picked, I didn't pick the scab. Like I bump it up against something else. I'm like, So I have a new purchase.
Do you have rubbers for your fingers?
I bought some Cuts gloves.
Oh.
Our friend Blake Rutherford recommended them.
Oh.
So apparently they won't you can wear them when you're like using a mandolin or
No way.
or whatever. So now I put them with the vegetable peeler. So now every time I use that to cut,
That is awesome.
do those fit you?
Yeah.
Okay, then I have another pair I'm going to give you because it was 2 pairs like came in the package and you could only pick one size. And I'm small, so I was like, well, I'll get 2 smalls. Like otherwise, I would have gotten like a small and a large for Matthew. But if they fit you, I'm gonna give you the other pair.
Okay,
I haven't
cool.
used them or anything. And so anyway, there you go. Problem
That's a
solved.
great idea. I thought you were gonna pull out the little finger condoms.
No, like for sewing and stuff.
We should probably put that in our first aid kit. Oh, please show the Band-Aid that you're wearing.
Oh, the Band-Aid, because I have a 13-year-old stepdaughter in the house, it's a poop emoji Band-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
Although she doesn't really use Band-Aids like she used to. Like when she was a kid, like all little kids like go through Band-Aids like crazy. So all of our Band-Aids are super cheap because she would just like use them like nuts. And apparently at some point we acquired a box of emoji Band-Aids.
Yeah.
So I've had a variety on my
Like you
finger.
didn't even know what you were getting. It's just like a surprise when you open it.
Yeah, like, I just like reach into the box because they're all mixed in together.
Yeah.
And like a couple of days ago, I got my first emoji Band-Aid, but it was all like smiley faces or like heart eyes. So this one I pulled out and I was like, oh, poop emoji. All right.
Nice.
Works for me.
That's hilarious.
All right. So who are we talking to today?
Abby. Oh my gosh. Abby Rolfe. I guess that's how you say her last name. Rolfe. I think
It looks like Rolfe.
Yeah. I adore her. She's so out there and she takes the best. She's a social media guru for restaurants and bars.
Yeah, specializes in restaurants, which is a tough job. Like, I mean, that's a lot.
Photos,
I know social media, and that is a tough job.
She always, I've been to the restaurants when I was going to restaurants, when she's actually there taking pictures, and she brings in her camera. She knows all the things about how to get the right light. I love that. And if you look at any of the restaurants that she works for, it's good.
Yeah. So I'm excited to visit with her. So let's get cleaned up and visit with Abby.
What are you drinking?
Okay, so let me move that. It is a cocktail that I had in Cabo. They made it with tequila, and I don't like tequila, so subbed it out with Rocktown Feast of the Fields gin.
Oh,
Nice.
It's like cucumber, cilantro, like honey, simple, and lime juice.
oh my God, that sounds delicious.
That does sound delicious. And I think you might be the first person I've ever met that doesn't like tequila.
Yeah, I totally went down a wrong way when I was in post college, and I can't come back from it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't. That's hilarious.
Of course, my wrong street was Hawaiian punch and vodka. So that was,
Ooh.
that's bad. That's
Yeah.
real bad.
We did a lot of like Gatorade, and that was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. So this is really funny because we're drinking gin as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we just had a conversation. We're having a Gibson,
Yes.
and I feel
That's
like
with like cocktail onions, right? Or is it with lemon?
onions.
Okay,
It's
cocktail
cocktail
onions.
onions, which were surprisingly hard to find today.
But because you have been a bar manager and you're in and out of bars and restaurants, did you know that vermouth had to be refrigerated?
So I learned that from Brett Bassett because he's the genius of all things like, spirits related, especially when it comes to vermouth, apparently, because he doesn't like that I like a dirty martini with no vermouth. He doesn't like that. He thinks it should be like no dirty, all vermouth. And I'm like, man. So anyway, he informed me about the refrigeration. And I was like, I knew it was down there. I didn't really know why, but.
Yeah, we had no idea. We just,
Yeah, I had to buy several different wine-based kind of vermouths and other things today. And I started looking at the bottles. I was like, all of these say refrigerate after opening. And we have other bottles of vermouth down here that have been there for a while and not open. So now I think I'm gonna have to go replace. Have been there and not refrigerated. So I think I'm gonna have to go replace all of them.
Well, yeah, he said that. Brett said that's why vermouth got such a bad name, and why people always say, "Oh, but hold the vermouth," is because it's usually spoiled, and what they're used to having is like spoiled vermouth.
well, that's what we were saying. We like there might actually be some cocktails that we've made that we didn't like because
it
has spoiled vermouth.
Mm-hmm. Right?
So
Isn't that crazy?
interesting.
I'm gonna have to go back through the database and maybe we'll have to remake some of those.
So, Abby, tell us about you. What is going on? There's a lot happening with you, I know, currently.
Yes.
But tell everybody what you do and all things new for you right now.
Okay. So I have my own social media company that I had been doing for a while. That was like the Fold, Reduno. I started with like Rebel Kettle, Lake Liquor, places like that. And then I needed help. So I met up with my now business partner, Ruth Evelyn. And she and I have been working together on, picking up new clients and working on all those clients. And we finally decided we need to officially merge the two and not just keep, doing these two different things. So we've been working on that. And our biggest thing that we're trying to do is create an online course that teaches specifically restaurants how to manage and maintain their own social media. So, because we know, especially with COVID, affording someone else to do it may not be, the approachable thing, especially right now. So teaching them what we know how to do for these different businesses to make it easier for them and manageable.
Yeah.
So I feel like restaurants, I'm not going to say you have it easy at all, but which is a bonus for you guys, because it's different for me, because when a restaurant, everybody that goes to a restaurant, most customers are taking pictures of their plates. They're taking pictures of their friends that they're with, and they're tagging the restaurant. And I'm like, damn it, that's so lucky.
Yes. Yes.
I know they are, but I just feel like there's so many more people in, and everybody's taking for those times that you're kind of struggling with content. It's so easy to just grab something.
Absolutely. That's like the Fold for sure. I'm repping my Fold fam here. They were the first place that really I dug into that and utilized, I guess what's the app that repost? So like reposting stuff, and you don't need to use the app, but that makes people feel more connected too. And they're like, oh my God, they used my photo. What? And I've used y'all's photos before, it makes not only the guest feel a little bit more important and included in your family, but it's also, free content. I mean,
and you kind of get a little, oh, they like my picture.
Yeah.
I
can't use them all. But there are
So,
some rough ones.
What are some of your tips for restaurants? Not to like steal anything that would be in your class and your online course, but I mean, what are some like basic things that you recommend restaurants do?
Okay, the big piece is, reposting, utilizing your content that the people are creating for you. But then, planning ahead. Restaurants are typically not good at planning ahead. It's usually fly by the seat of your pants, but trying to come up with some sort of system that's going to work, that's going to help you plan ahead so you're not in the moment. And in order to do that, you need to have plenty of photos. Anytime you make like your burrata at Reduno, right? Take 30 pictures of it in different areas. And then on a day when you're like, I don't know what to post, okay, throw a burrata in there. Who doesn't love it? If you've got your cheese pizza that you're doing this big epic spread, take each piece of the spread and take a picture of it somewhere else with somebody holding it, whatever. So you have all this content that you can use in the future.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, kind of batching all of those photos is huge. I've worked with restaurants before, and they'll just send me the photos because they've been out of state, and like they send me 30 pictures to use for the next 12 months. I'm like, I'm not really sure what you want me to do with this.
Yeah. No.
I'm done after 30 days.
And then like, if you can even do a story then, because like that's another thing too, is repurposing stuff for different places. It's like, well, some things need to be put in stories, so you need extra content for that. And it
has to be formatted differently or angled differently. So it's all so that's super important. But as far as like educating a restaurant, and they may not have the funds to hire somebody, they still need, do you recommend that they have someone that's like dedicated at least half their time to social media? Like who's the person that you recommend at restaurants do that if they can't hire somebody?
I really think, and one of the things we want to teach is finding the right people that you have in your repertoire. Look at your 16-year-old host. They may not be great at taking pictures, but maybe they're great at coming up with catchy content. Utilize them for some caption writing, right? Say, hey, I'm going to give you an extra whatever an hour. I don't know how you want to work it out, but hey, I'm going to have you do this. Are you cool with that? Like if once a week I have you sit down and help me write some captions.
Yeah.
Or hey, you're great at taking pictures. I see you TikToking all day long. TikTok for the restaurant, as long as you run it by and it's approved. But utilize your people, but plan it out.
Yeah.
So are you letting them bring the photos to you? You're not like letting them just post
Right. No.
Okay.
I don't recommend.
That's scary. That's scary to me. I mean,
if you really trusted someone, I guess, but like that would be like a manager that you're salaried and you have faith and built a relationship with. But no, just utilizing like, here, Bart, I took these 40 pictures at the Fold, use them however you want. I sent them to you. And then from there, taking that and building something.
I mean, what's so great, and I'm going to pull out Raduno in the Fold, which I met you for the first time at Raduno, because I think you started there, right? Like, weren't you managing?
So I managed Olive Garden for 10 years. It's a little known fact. Yeah. I'm from St. Louis. So that's where I started most of my Olive Garden career, was there. And then moved here, worked at Olive Garden Rodney Parham for about a year or two, then quit there and became GM at Heights Taco. So I opened Heights Taco Tamale as GM there. And that's where I really got to work with Amber Brewer and her genius of branding and marketing. And I fell in love with it. From there, went and managed Fold and Raduno, and then just Raduno, and then said, and did my own thing.
Well, I mean, the Fold and Raduno both are like the prettiest places to have like backgrounds. I mean, they make it easier. The style and the aesthetic of both restaurants are great for photos, for just your personal photos and being, I mean, the content. I mean, it's awesome. That's having good food.
But you do a great job on their social. Like, I've complimented Bart multiple times and he's like, it's all Abbey. But I'm like, God, you're doing such a good job.
Bart, don't mess it up.
Little known fact, my girlfriend is Alex, who's head chef part owner at the Fold too. So she's running around here somewhere, keeping the dogs quiet.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, bonus for you. What do you get? Like gourmet food all the time? Yeah.
Yeah, she's graduated from Culinary Institute in New York. So yes, she can whip up. It's crazy. Like she smoked a whole pork the other day, then a whole chicken the next day. I'm like, we haven't even eaten the pork yet. Why are you now smoking a whole chicken? Like, what's happening here?
Oh my gosh.
So this is not it's this place in, I think South Carolina called Co-op Sullivan's. Have you ever heard of this place? Okay, so they have this like huge social media following, even though it's this like small little, like it's a froze place, but the guy who runs it does all of their social media, and it's like got all this like huge personality. So this huge following of people all over the country that don't even have the opportunity to go eat there. And so I'm going to send you the link after this, because
I know I was like about to reach for my phone and start looking. I was like,
no, I'll send it to you because it's so funny. I sent it to one of my other friends. I sent it to Shannon, Shannon Williams. And so she and I are always talking about it. And she and her husband actually went to Sullivan's Island, I think is where it is, and ended up going there. So it was a lot of fun. But my point, I have a question behind all of this. My point is about the personality and kind of that tone of voice behind it, because I think that one of the things that's so magical about that particular account, the photos aren't great, but it's the personality and the captions, like the way that this guy just like kind of lays it all out there, and you kind of want to be his friend and laugh at him. And so you have to really determine that for each one of the restaurants, I assume, that you're working for. And how do you decide what that's going to be and shift from restaurant to restaurant?
Yeah. So, I mean, some already have it. And so it's learning their tone and making sure that that's the tone they want to continue with if they already have an existing brand. And then some, it's really trying to create that if they're new. And really it's spending time with the employees that work there, on the photo shoots, getting to know them, because they are the voice. That is the experience you're having, It's like spending time with Phil at Rocktown and having weekly meetings with him, whether it's a Zoom or a phone call, talking with all the employees there. It's really, understanding that individual place's voice, which is why I empower also, if you do have the time to do it yourself, add that element in. I do Minuteman burgers as well. And, one of the guys was like, oh, I was going to do a post, but they told me not to, that I should let you do it. I said, do stories, do lives all day long. People want that. They want to see you and know who you are. So, again, that's going back to that empowering someone that works with you. And, if you don't want to do it yourself, empower somebody, because that's the direct voice. I can funnel your voice, but you are the direct voice. And I have the lucky, I've worked with a lot of these places a long time, so that helps, and I know there are a lot of that, but you do have to get to know it in order to really do it well, in my opinion.
So we had scheduled with Phil, and it was like in October. Was it October? It was October. Yeah, it was right before my birthday.
Yes, we are big supporters of Rocktown. Like, we buy it and use it all the time.
We were gonna meet with him, and
We were going to do an episode at
Rocktown. And then I had an exposure and I had to like quarantine and I had to cancel it. And so get us back on, girl.
Well, I think we need to wait for
I know.
I'm always like pulling back on in-person
I'm always
stuff.
like running for it. And Emily's like, hold on.
Maybe give it like till some people get some vaccines. I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. Yes. No, I could go on a long tangent about that.
Yes.
But yeah, we're real excited about, I am personally wanting to really get into Rocktown and just like taste multiple. I mean, we get the bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
We've done.
I bought a different kind of bourbon today too from Rocktown. Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you guys get a hold of the rice bourbon by chance?
No, today I bought the sour mash, I think.
Okay. I think they sold out of the rice bourbon. That one flew off the shelves, but they used Arkansas sourced rice.
Nice.
I think it was almost like right when I first started with him about 2 or 3 years ago. And he was like, yeah, we're gonna make this rice bourbon. And I was like, cool. And I like tried to take some pictures of rice in my hands and stuff. He goes, well, I mean, it's not going to be a thing for another like 2 years. And I was like, God, how do you do that? How do you get so excited? And then you have to sit there and wait for it, and I'm like, but that one flew. I tried it. Okay. I'm going to make another confession. I'm not a big brown liquor connoisseur.
That's okay. We love
like I'm there and he's like, try this. And then they're all like, try this. I'm like, delicious.
You're like
I
this.
love it. So good. They're like, can you taste the differences and the nuances? I'm like, yes.
See, that's what I want is I would love for us to be able to have somebody explain why this is different than this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And Phil does that all the time. Like their tastings and stuff.
To be able to know what, I mean, with all liquors. I mean, it's not just, you know, just with any, because we started
like
this
spending that time with Brett Bassett talking about, the vermouth. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I never,
Yeah.
So what does a day entail for you? Like, how do you start your day? I mean, are you gone out of the house or are you sitting at home on social media?
Depends on each day, right? Like, so some days I try to put most of my photo shoots into 2 days. So like if it's a photo shoot day, it's get up, get out there I'm usually in most places by about 10 before they open, or, so I'll have like a 10 one, then I'll have an after lunch one, or like, like in between, and then I'll have probably another one, and then an evening, and then, night I'm done as far as photos. But
when you're doing photos, are you requesting like, hey guys, I'm going to come in, I want to take a picture of this, and so have this food ready? Or are you like, hey, let's get some models or not, whoever, do you want people posing? How are you scheduling what kind of content you're trying to create?
So it depends on the place again, obviously, but I like to, so we use Trello. I don't know if you know what Trello is. That's our big schedule or like a planning thing. And I can then communicate with the restaurants and they can see like, okay, here's what, like I sent out, I think it was 2 weeks ago, things to keep in that are coming up, National Cheese Lovers Day, if it relates to you, Super Bowl, right? Valentine's Day. So I try to kind of send out a little beacon, like, if you want to do anything, and then I send them like some of my ideas, like I think you should focus on takeout, so a lot of times I will prompt with different things, and then sometimes they're like, hey, we want to do this week, like the pantry, they're more, hey, we're going to do this, that, and the other, and I'm like, cool, what day, what time? Wednesday, Thursday, so it really depends on the control that the restaurant wants to have, or if they want me to dictate. And again, it's a lot easier if they have more of the control, because then me coming in going, all right, I don't know, what are we doing today?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that I struggle. I'm always looking for advice, but it's so different, like for me personally, and Emily helps me sometimes. And
content creation is
it's so hard. And I am so old school where when I started doing hair, that we weren't taking pictures. There wasn't social media. I mean, I'm not an old lady, just FYI.
But just always keep in mind, just like you were saying about, restaurants, you want to see the personality. And like you said, the place in where was it? Virginia Beach? Did I make that up?
It's in South Carolina. It's like
South Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's his personality, right? So just like you do things like this, like your podcast, and you repurpose it, it's just getting your personality in there. And it's hard to make yourself. I don't like it either, but
at first, when we first started doing this podcast, it was so hard I couldn't even listen to myself. I couldn't watch it. And now I'm like, okay, I don't care.
Yep.
Because I've dealt with it. I've heard myself. I can't change it. It's not going to change. We can say, pull the F-bomb. I don't care. That's not going to change. Whatever. We're just going to be ourselves. Right. Which is awesome. And I do, I personally gravitate towards people that are a lot more
themselves. It's like when you're
yes.
putting on a performance, it doesn't really
When
work.
I know
And that's,
some-
I mean, that's, we've talked about that
Yes.
with your social media and like, you know, just like that's why we do profiles of the people
Yeah.
that work there. And, you know, it's
Yeah.
like kind of,
I mean,
Well, and it's something I've learned recently too, is like, I'm like, man, these photos that I have, like my, you know, my camera, stage it, it's beautiful. It'll get like 80 likes.
yeah.
Stupid iPhone with a crappy filter, 150. I'm like, yo, what?
I know.
It's like, but they want real. They don't want this
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I think you should have some of it, but it's like,
Sure.
man, this one that I'm sitting here going, this is beautiful. I put some work into it. People are like, it's okay. You know?
Okay. So one thing I really want to talk, well, first of all, before I jump into Clubhouse, I want to ask you about your partner on the social tap really quick. So
Yes. Okay, cool.
Tell me her name again.
Her name is Ruth Evelyn. It's all one. It's like
Okay.
Ruth, Routh, and then Evelyn, all one word.
And how did y'all get connected?
It's funny. So I was walking up to Guillermo's in West Little Rock to get a coffee, and she was sitting outside, and I was taking pictures of like the little cute parking signs they have. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're really funny little parking signs. And so I was like, oh my God, these are cute, taking a picture. And I was like, she was talking to somebody like, sorry guys, I'm the weirdo taking pictures and stuff, but I do social media. And she was like, oh my God, so do I. So we kind of just started chatting and sharing advice and being like, you know, it's good to know somebody else in this that's doing it, and maybe we can, you know, give tips to each other. And it just kind of took off from there, because had just started with Rocktown, and it is so much and like such an undertaking, and with everything else I was doing, I couldn't do it by myself. And so she just kind of started helping with that, and then we merged, you know, as I said earlier, we kind of just merged what we were doing because we realized we were a good team. So she's a stay-at-home mom. She has 2 cute little girls, and her husband, he actually just battled cancer. He's 24, I think, and just got through cancer. And she was pregnant. I mean, it was like, the strength this woman has is crazy. And she smiled like every day. I'm like, I don't understand how you're positive right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's a force to be reckoned with. I think she's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. So what you guys are doing, because I know you just started a Facebook group for the social on tap, right? Because
Yes,
I think I'm a member.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where we just want to give free information. Like we were just talking about, you know, like give some tips. That's where we're going to share some free info and help the food truck and restaurant community more so. But if small businesses can benefit, then great.
Okay. I'm going to raise my hand for a second, because I literally this week was So last week we recorded a podcast. It hasn't aired yet, with the Mighty Rib.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Kevin, very excited about it. He was super nice. It's just unbelievable the amount of food that he gets to taste, and can write about it.
What a great following he's grown.
400. Oh, I know. It's amazing. Yeah. So I was just talking to a client, and I can't remember who it was. And we were talking about just the pandemic and how the person I was talking to, we don't really go out, we'll get takeout for you. And then we got to talking about food trucks and, but how great, I'm going to tell you an idea, but of course I don't want to be the one to do it, but how great would it be to have a somewhat of a small map that could just show you all the places that are doing takeout and the food trucks that are doing takeout in one place? Because, and I'll say, I know you can look up things and you can look up different food items or what you're interested in, but when you're in a rut and you're used to going to the same things, it's like you have a brain fart and you can't remember.
Yeah, no, like you sit there, you're trying to be like, oh, what's that place? Even, you know, yeah.
So you end up going to the same place. So it's like,
it needs to be like Grubhub almost, but like the places that don't use those kind of, but it's like you go to one to go, what do I want for dinner tonight or something, right? And if they're open or not and where they are.
Well, and also like the places when we were asking him, like the hidden gems, like now I can't even remember some of the places he was talking about, but I really want to try them out because they sounded amazing.
So he needs to, and this is where him and I need to hook up.
I know.
He needs to do a guide. Have you seen Instagram guides?
No.
It's a new feature on Instagram. And we just did our first one. We did it on like local influencers, but it's this new thing on Instagram where you can like put all in one spot. So like if you're a clothing person or for Rocktown, I was thinking, I'm like, oh, I could totally use this to highlight all their recipes. So I could do like a basil vodka guide, and you could just like, it takes posts that are already out there and like puts them all in one condensed spot. So I mean, I don't know how to explain it otherwise, but Instagram guides, maybe Mighty Rib can do that for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you go call him. Because I always have these bright ideas like in the middle of the day or something. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah. But I mean, I'm not going to be able to do it.
I love being the idea person. It's the execution that's the crap.
Yeah. Like, how many times do I say that to you?
All the time.
I'm like, yeah, it's great to have an idea, Amy.
I know. I'm like, I have ideas all the time.
It's literally ideas are dime a dozen. It's the execution that makes the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alex for the fold. I'm like, oh, Super Bowl. What if and she's like, to pump it. No, like, I'm like, come on. She's like, it sounds great, but the reality isn't there. I'm like, oh.
No. But I mean, I feel like it's not like this particular guide kind of thing would not choosing and picking one business over the other. It's just giving you like, it's just putting it out there like, okay, there's other restaurants than the 3 that you go to all the time. Right. So I'll change the subject.
I'll hit them up.
But anyway, so Clubhouse. Okay. Clubhouse.
So you're obsessed with Clubhouse.
So obsessed.
She was my first person. I literally got on and Abbey was talking to me and I was like, oh my God, how do I even do this? I don't even know how to talk to her. I had to like leave the room because Matt was in the other room like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
So how long have you been on?
I guess since the end of December. I think I looked last night. Yeah.
Okay.
So not long.
Yeah.
Not long at all. But
yeah, because they started out beta, like, so it was like a super small tight group, probably 3-4 months ago or so. And then they kind of like
October-ish.
October-ish. And they've been like opening up the invitations. And I think it like just recently flooded Arkansas because like all of a sudden everybody in my contacts is on there like within the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh,
good.
Wow. Well, I don't know. Not many of my contacts are on there, I guess, or I don't know, but I need to put it out there. So what do you think? Like, tell me your thoughts on it. And have you had a time to play around on it yet?
I've spent a little bit of time on it, not a whole lot of time on it, but.
So I think last night I just like happened to, I follow this one guy randomly once that's a chef somewhere. I don't even know where he is, and so I saw that a room opened up and I'm just sitting on my computer. So I was like, boop, have my headphones in and he's just talking. And then all of a sudden the main editor and publisher of, I don't know if it was Food and Wine or Food and Beverage magazine. I screenshot and like have an Trello board that has like who I've, to make sure I don't forget. But, and like I was sitting there talking to them and this chef and like, I mean, it's just the connections you can make. And especially because it is such a young platform and there aren't too terribly many people on there. I mean, everyone's trying to help each other. And I've learned so much. I've been able to teach a little bit. Where I didn't think like, what do I know? But I was able to actually like kind of, I think, impart some wisdom on a few people. And I mean, what I'm learning is crazy. I can't, It's just insane.
I have listened to it quite a bit. Just little tidbits, like when I'm getting ready or something. And I typically will gravitate to social media stuff because I don't know.
I had the dogs.
Because I don't know a lot about the social media. Well, I mean, I know stuff about social media, but not like Emily. Emily's the expert and I'm trying. But the thing that this is a question for you too, is what do you think about those people that are putting themselves out there as multimillionaire, 10-figure, whatever. I mean,
I got a 10-figure month or whatever. This whole if I hear that one more time.
Let's just have a conversation about. And I don't go into those, but I feel like to me, when you put that out there, I'm like, this is not reality. Are you selling?
I think that's not our reality. So don't join that. Just don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But I listened to something, I think it was today, and it was small. It was a small amount of time. And it was just interesting because the girl actually called out these type of, not necessarily calling these people, but it was just being yourself versus being like someone who's selling an image of.
I think you might have been in the same room as me, or I don't know, a similar one. But yeah, it's like, what I've gained the most is just, you see more authenticity through it, I think. And if you're using it to, don't go on there to sell things, go on there to teach things and to learn things. And that's really how I think I've I've been able to luckily utilize it and be a beneficiary of it, or benefited from it, right? Like,
I think that's one of the benefits of it being such a young platform, to your point, is that, and the way that they kind of gradually opened up invitations to it is that you don't have this like flood of anybody and everybody coming in. It's kind of like, okay, we're going to go in with purpose and we're going to use it purposefully. And so I think it's a really interesting concept, just that kind of audio only. So there's not this pressure of video. There's not this pressure of editing and performance.
Yeah.
And so I think it is a really, it's more like kind of eavesdropping into a dinner party. And I think that that's a really interesting aspect of it.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because I can be in my car. I can be getting ready. Now, I think I may have heard somebody TTing today.
Yeah, I know. It's like you got to remember to mute people.
Yes. But no, I have not spoken or raised my hand because I haven't been in. I don't think I'm in them long enough to do that necessarily, but I'm still learning.
So one of the biggest mistakes you can make, and that was one of the first or second rooms I was in, they're like, the biggest mistake you can make is just being a listener and not talking. Raise your hand, get it over with, get it out there, and you'll feel more comfortable. And so ever since then I'm like, sure, boom. And then like people get to hear and see, and like you get to just have these real conversations. Don't be so afraid. And if it's not the right room for you, peace out, see you later. Don't raise your hand, but try to get over that. And so the person who got me over that was Susan, who she coordinates the music for Willie D's. I think it's called Red Dog Productions. I don't know if you know Susan Susan Irwin Prose.
Is she linked on your website? Because I hadn't heard of her, but I looked her up when I was looking at your website and stuff, or your.
She had put together this fantastic like tips for Clubhouse so that people didn't keep asking a whole bunch of, it's like, here, go here, learn about it, learn how to get on there. And so she had a room, and she like invited me up to speak and said, "Hey, Abby," and it's like started talking to me. I was like, and I couldn't get out of it. And so that kind of just got me over it. And
which makes it better because you can't see you, and it's totally like audio, which is kind of cool. I like that a lot. So I've noticed that you've started putting out on your social media, like you've been putting out there like, hey, I'm on Clubhouse, follow me here. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to. I think it'll be fun. And I'm interested to see, because you guys have a room tonight, right?
Yeah, our first room is tonight. And what I want to do is host a weekly, is what I'm thinking. We need to pick which day and which time, but we know what topic we want. We want it to be, tips to make social media easier for restaurants. And I just need to figure out when are restaurant owners on Clubhouse. So it may take a minute to kind of figure that out, play around with a few times and test it out. But that's what we're wanting to do.
What's funny is I have the invites that I've been allowed to pass on. I've passed to people that I think would actually, I think of the people that I think would actually use it. And literally maybe like 3 of the 4 people that I've sent invites to have been like, I'm already a member at Pure Barre. I'm like, it's not Clubhouse Fitness.
They're in the know, man.
I was like, it's not a gym.
I did get to
when I got my invite, I was like, yes, I've been waiting for an invite. Thank you so much. And then you're sending it to people. They're like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. They're like,
that's hilarious.
No, they sent them to me. They're like, is this really you? And I was like, yes, it's me. It's not a gym membership.
I'm not trying to sell you something.
No, I was like, I think you might like this.
That is so funny.
You don't have to send an invite if they're already a contact in your phone. If you're both contacts with each other and they have downloaded the app and created a username, it'll alert you and you can just let them in. Just a heads up.
There you go.
Okay.
It's a little trick to the
nice. Well, it's funny, and I've said this to Emily before, and is that my husband thinks I'm on my phone way too much, and I'm not, because it's usually just when I'm not at work, which is in the evening time, and I can't sit and do hair and talk on the phone all the time. So when I'm at home, he thinks I'm on the phone too much. And that thing can be serious. Like people are on it 24 hours a day.
Yeah, there's a room that has never closed since the beginning. It's like some social media room, or supposedly, I think. And so they just have different moderators. They're hopping in and running it. I'm like, because it's nationwide. That's what's crazy. Somebody was like, yeah, I'm in Thailand. It's like 10 a.m. right now, and it's crazy.
Oh my gosh. I do like that it's audio though. It's kind of fun. In a world that we're all doing videos all the time, which is crazy. But
yeah, it's kind of against the trend. Like, I mean, the predictions are for more and more video. So it is really counterintuitive, except that podcasts have taken off so much more this year. I mean, they've been going on for a long time. It's been interesting. It's interesting to watch, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with it as it goes.
Well, and I would love to know.
Yeah.
I would love to know how it would be where we could podcast and have a room at the same time. I don't know how that works.
You're not legally supposed to record it because they want these to be authentic conversations that people aren't worried about being, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And if we were to do it, which it would be like supplemental to it would be like a separate thing where we would like pick a topic and talk about it, not like have our own show. I mean, it would be a different thing.
In the room last night, they were talking about doing a Zoom while in the clubhouse. They're going to Zoom cook together because it was the chef's room. And they're like, here's the recipe. We're going to make ceviche. We're going to make this drink and we're going to Zoom it and have the clubhouse room. I was like, what? Like, I can't, my brain couldn't even, it was like midnight. So I couldn't even wrap my mind around it. But I was like,
I mean, it's kind of like your blooper reel, because like if you edit the podcast and then you can't edit the clubhouse.
Yeah.
But I think the clubhouse is supposed to be more of a conversation than a show.
Sure.
So you have to kind of like shift your perspective in the way you think about it. It's not like, this is what we're going to,
Yeah.
Crazy, but I love it.
So learning. I'm learning.
Well, and you should always be learning for the rest of your life.
I love it. I mean, I could be in a box, in a bubble and be that person that's like, I don't want to learn it. You know what I mean? Because it's changed so much since I started. Like the salon will be open 7 years, which I believe this, it's weird to count this
April,
last year.
Right?
Yeah, in April. And I'm like, before, when we first started, like we didn't have all this Instagram. I mean, we might have had Instagram, but it was like, we were not, I think then we were just like, oh, filters. We're going to look like a photographer because we got.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you look at like old pictures, everything's filtered.
So many. Yes, I love to go through the phases.
Heavily filtered, and like the frame is around it, and it looks like a Polaroid or something. Yeah.
So now it's so different. So the difference, and you really think about 7 years is not that long, and how it's evolved from what it was to now. It's insane. Yeah. And I can't imagine what it's going to be like in 7 years.
I know, right? I mean, it was just like TikTok. So I've been fighting it. I downloaded it last night after listening to all these rooms. Everybody, you got a TikTok for your business. I'm like, but I caved last night.
One more thing.
Yeah.
There needs to be a platform where you're hitting all of them at the same time.
The thing about TikTok is that you can't really take your existing content and repurpose it for TikTok. Like with Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, I mean, you can kind of take what you have and repurpose it. For TikTok, you kind of have to create original content. I mean, you can use Reels, and that's kind of.
I think if you start it in TikTok and then shift it to everything else, but
but then it looks like a TikTok thing, I mean,
apparently you can there's a way around. Somebody was saying
not just the branding. I just mean like the approach, like the style. Yeah.
So during the pandemic, when we were shut down, basically, we're still in a pandemic. When Emily and I first started really trying to work on this, and then I was trying to do videos for the salon to just try to be present, I was trying to get some of the stylists to make videos.
And I loved your videos. Like that was like, I was like, this is what we need to be doing. Yes.
But, but it was really funny. So there was one stylist who's young. She's very young. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll do a blowout video. And she recorded it on TikTok. And so she sent it to me, and it's got like the TikTok. I was like,
sorry, it's fully vertical, and like we do everything on Instagram, so it's like all this weird cropping.
I was like, why did you record?
I mean, we can do it on stories, but for our feed.
It was just like this whole thing. We're like, it's because she's 20.
Yeah, my reel I just did for the fold is like, I put the words down, but I'm still trying to master reels, and it's like.
Because to share it on your feed, you have to get like everything like framed right.
In that little, and so all my words were down where you.
It's all funky and cut off. Like they completely cut it off, and it drives me. I won't even watch those videos. Like it drives me crazy. But I did see that video that you did.
Yeah, I apologize for it, and they will get better.
It's an evolution and an experiment. I think social media is like a grand experiment, and we're just learning every single day.
And I love
people like to see your fails too.
Yeah.
Like I told Alex, I said for the fold, she likes to save go back and look at the footage of when people like fall, aka herself typically. And I want to do like fold funniest videos and show like when she's like in the kitchen, like that,
that would be hilarious.
We've gotten really good engagement when we show our bloopers.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, some of the ones, and they're real. I mean, they're like literally stupid, real bloopers. I mean, I don't think we purposely made them to be bloopers, but they just were.
Gosh, you can't purposely make a blooper.
Drunken bloopers.
But I have one coming up where I cut my finger. Like,
yeah,
it is not pretty.
Well,
I haven't even watched the video yet. It's going to be traumatic, I think.
Were you cutting citrus or something?
I was doing a vegetable peeler and it like slipped and sliced the top of my finger.
Right after she said,
I was like, I'm really worried about cutting my finger. Yeah.
And then it was like the fingertip and the peeler.
Yeah.
Alex just did that on her mandolin. She was cleaning it and her thumb got stuck in it. She couldn't. I was like, I can't.
So I bought the cuts gloves now. So like the gloves that you can't like. So they're in the drawer with the vegetable peeler. So now every time I pull it out, I'm going to put the gloves on. Like we're not doing this again.
And veggie peelers are the two death traps of any kitchen.
Yeah. So I will tell you that my sister-in-law, when my brother-in-law, he has a business called Eat My Catfish.
Yeah.
And his wife, it's when he was still in his working out of a trailer, and now he has brick and mortar or whatever, but he had a snow cone machine and Jessica was working it. Love you, Jessica. But this is a true story. And she's working the thing and this girl's like, comes and orders a snow cone, and the big sign on the snow cone, don't put your fingers in there. She literally cut off of her finger. It was a bloody snow cone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously, like, oh yeah, it was
fairy.
It was a cut off. I mean, like her finger, she's lucky she does have a tiny bit of nail, but it is definitely shorter. Her finger is shorter than when it started.
Oh.
So I'll end that
note. Yeah.
Yeah.
Different
but anyway, okay, tell us how and where all your social media handles, where to find you, what we're doing.
So yeah, Instagram is at The Social on Tap, or Krabby_Abbey_33 or something crazy like that. And then I'd love it if you're in the industry of food and beverage / food truck, all that stuff, to join our Facebook group, which is Tips and Tricks for Restaurant, Food Truck, Small Business Owners.
Love it.
All right.
I mean, you don't even have to be in a restaurant to get tips from you. So I think that's awesome. And
we're just trying to figure it out. So
we haven't even talked about, but one thing I'm going to say real quick is your photography is great. What kind of
We have a cool team. I have a new team member, Jen Terrell. She's awesome. Jen Terrell, she's wedding photography, but she's part of our team now and she does amazing work. So anyway,
what kind of camera are you using for this?
I just have a Nikon D5300. It's not like, so Becca Bona, if you don't know her, she's fantastic. She's who gave me my dry run on photography. I know nothing about it. She just kind of was like, okay, here, get this kind of camera. We'll grab a few beers and I'll teach you the few tricks that you need in order to take decent photography. And I owe her the world because, so Becca Bona, she's awesome.
Might need to call her.
She's a great journalist too. She does amazing writing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you. You're going places.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
It was a pleasure to visit with you.
You as well. And I'm going to be listening / meeting up with y'all in Clubhouse because.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure.
Awesome.
Cheers, girls. See you later.
Thanks. Bye, y'all.
Bye.